Vasudeva. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Jaya Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Didiyat Nashtaprayeshu Bhantreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge, text 12. Mogasha mo karmano moga jnana vichetasa rakshasim asurim cheva prakritim muhinim shitaha. So mogasha mo karmano moga jnana. That is what it means. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demoniac and atheistic views. So thus bewildered means, Krishna says in the previous verse that fools deride me when I appear in a human form. Means those fools, they are bewildered, or just bewildered, are attracted by demoniac and atheistic view. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. See, so much to lose if we don't have faith in Krishna, and so much to gain if we have faith. Such a big difference. But Krishna, he has given us this minute independence to desire what we want to, and he doesn't take it away. But he is telling both the sides what will happen if you don't have faith in me. So their hopes for liberation defeated, the fruitive activities are defeated, and the culture of knowledge. They think they're very knowledgeable, everything is defeated. They don't have any knowledge. There are many devotees who assume themselves to be in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, but at heart do not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, as the absolute truth. For them, the fruit of devotional service, going back to Godhead, will never be tasted. Similarly, those who are engaged in fruitive, pious activities and who are ultimately hoping to be liberated from this material entanglement will never be successful either, because they deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. In other words, persons who mock Krishna are to be understood to be demoniac or atheistic. This is what Krishna is saying through Bhagavad Gita, not making it up. As described in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, such demoniac miscreants never surrender to Krishna. Therefore, their mental speculations to arrive at the absolute truth bring them to the false conclusion that the ordinary living entity and Krishna are one and the same. So that is Mayavad philosophy. With such a false conviction, they think that the body of any human being is now simply covered by material nature, and that as soon as one is liberated from this material body, there is no difference between God and himself. Means we all are going to become God. This is what this is. This attempt to become one with Krishna will be baffled because of delusion. Such atheistic and demoniac cultivation of spiritual knowledge is always futile. That is the indication of this verse. For such persons, cultivation of knowledge in the Vedic literature like the Vedanta Sutra and the Upanishads is always baffled. They might pose as, oh, we're big scholars and I know this sloka, that scripture, this scripture, but their knowledge is all baffled. They don't have any knowledge. If they don't know Krishna, like in 15th chapter, Krishna says Vedeshta sarveraham vedanta krita vedvidevcha. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Krishna clearly says that. And here people are studying Vedanta Sutras, Upanishads, writing commentaries, but have no faith in Krishna. What's the use? Means they didn't study. It's a great offense, therefore, to consider Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to be an ordinary man. Those who do so are certainly deluded because they cannot understand the eternal form of Krishna. The Brihad Vishnu Smriti clearly states, one who considers the body of Krishna to be material should be driven out from all rituals and activities of the Shruti and the Smriti. And if one by chance sees his face, one should at once take bath in the Ganga to rid himself of the infection. It is so poisonous to even look at a person who has faith in Krishna, thinks the body of Krishna is material. So body of Krishna is material means he is not the Supreme Lord, he is an ordinary man. That's what they think. Of course, here it doesn't say Mukham tasyavilokyapi sachelam snanam acharet. Sachelam means with the clothes. He should not even wait to take off the clothes. He should jump in the Ganga with the clothes on to get rid of himself of that infection. People jeer at Krishna because they are envious of the Supreme Personality of God. Their destiny is certainly to take birth after birth in the species of atheistic and demoniac life. Perpetually, their real knowledge will remain under a delusion, and gradually they will regress to the darkest region of creation. So, no liberation, no culture of knowledge, no fruitive activity. Everything is defeated. And those who take shelter of Krishna, Krishna's energy, Mahatmanastu Mam Partha Devim Prakritim Mashuta Ayanti Ananya Manaso Gyatva Bhuta Denmagvayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So, in this verse, Krishna is saying, Mahatmanastu Mam Partha Devim Prakritim Mashu. So, Prabhupada first he talks about that. In this verse, the description of the Mahatma is clearly given. The first sign of the Mahatma is that he is already situated in the divine nature. He is not under the control of material nature. And Prabhupada did talk about in his lectures, when people just give the title Mahatma to anybody, but what is Krishna want? What does Krishna want? What's the description Krishna gives? Mahatma means who has taken shelter of my divine nature, not material nature. So taking shelter of divine nature means one who is a devotee. Simple as that. Not, it's, of course, politicians, they just want to work on in their own way. That's a different story. But use of the titles should be, one should be careful. The first sign of Mahatma is that he is already situated in the divine nature. He is not under the control of material nature. And how is this effective? That is explained in the 7th chapter. One who surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of God, Shri Krishna, at once becomes freed from the control of material nature. Devihi Esha Gunamai Mammaya Durataya. So Krishna says, so one who has taken shelter of Devi, of my lotus feet, he gets away from the control of material nature. So that is a qualification. One can become free from the control of material nature as soon as he surrenders his soul to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is a preliminary formula. Being marginal potency, as soon as a living entity is freed from the control of material energy, material nature, is put under the guidance of the spiritual nature. The guidance of the spiritual nature is called Devi Prakriti, or divine nature. So when one is promoted in that way by surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one attains to the stage of great soul. So that's a real Mahatma. The Mahatma does not divert his attention to anything outside Krishna, because he knows perfectly well that Krishna is the original Supreme Person, the cause of all causes. There is no doubt about it. Such a Mahatma or great soul develops through association with other Mahatmas or pure devotees. Pure devotees are not even attracted by Krishna's other features, such as four-armed Mahavishnu. So they're not even attracted by Mahavishnu, who is spiritual, divine, transcendental. But pure devotees, if this is where their heart belongs, whether God Nitai or Radha Krishna, they cannot be diverted. They are simply attracted by the two-armed form of Krishna. They're not attracted to other features of Krishna. Nor are they concerned with any form of a demigod or of a human being. They meditate only upon Krishna in Krishna consciousness. They're always engaged in the unswerving service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness. So this is what those souls who are not deluded, who have full faith in Krishna, they are devoted to Krishna, they're serving Krishna. This is what happens to them. And further, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yatantascha Dridavripa Namasyantascha Mam Bhaktya Nitya Yukta Upasana. So what do? Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. These great souls, those who have taken shelter, Mahatmanas. The Mahatma cannot be manufactured by rubber stamping an ordinary man. His symptoms are described here. A Mahatma is always engaged in chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. He has no other business. He is always engaged in the glorification of the Lord. In other words, he is not an impersonalist. So, Mayavadis cannot be Mahatmas, according to Bhagavad Gita. When the question of glorification is there, one has to glorify the Supreme Lord, praising His holy name, His eternal form, His transcendental qualities, and His uncommon pastimes. One has to glorify all these things. Therefore, a Mahatma is attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who is attached to the impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord, the Brahma Jyoti, is not described as Mahatma in the Bhagavad Gita. But see, these days, because we don't have this knowledge, anybody with a long beard, long white hair, and wearing dhoti, chadar, not even kurta, chadar, we say he's a Mahatma. So Mahatma is not just by looks. Of course, no, Mahatma is not by looks. It's by what he believes in and what he speaks. When he preaches, that's where we have to listen, whether he's real Mahatma or is just a charlatan, just faking. One who is attached to the impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord, the Brahm Jyoti, is not described as Mahatma in the Bhagavad Gita. He is described in a different way in the next verse. The Mahatma is always engaged in different activities of devotional service. As described in Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing and chanting about Vishnu, not a demigod or human being. That is devotion. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, and Smaranam, remembering it. Such a Mahatma has firm determination to achieve at the ultimate end the association of the Supreme Lord in any of the 5 transcendental rasas. So that's a Mahatma. To achieve that success, he engages all activities, mental, bodily, vocal, everything in the service of the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna. That is called full Krishna consciousness. To engage everything, body, mind, words, in the service of the Lord favorably, that's another word. That is Krishna consciousness. In devotional service, there are certain activities which are called determined, such as fasting on certain days, like the 11th day of the moon, Ekadashi, and on the appearance day of the Lord. All these rules and regulations are offered by the great acharyas for those who are actually interested in getting admission into the association of the Supreme Lord in the transcendental worlds. The Mahatmas or great souls strictly observe all these rules and regulations, and therefore they are sure to achieve the desired result. So by following all these rules, chanting and fasting and other things that Prabhupada has given, Prabhupada is clearly saying that actually it is observed by those who are actually interested in getting admission into the association of the Supreme Lord in the transcendental world. Means this is what will purify us, purify our material contaminations, and make us eligible to go further up in the spiritual world. The Mahatmas of great souls strictly observe all these rules and regulations, and therefore they are sure to achieve the desired result. As described in the second verse of this chapter, not only is this devotional service easy, but it can be performed in a happy mood. One does not need to undergo any severe penance and austerity. He can live this life in devotional service, guided by an expert spiritual master, and in any position, either as a householder or a sannyasi or a brahmachari, in any position and anywhere in the world, he can perform this devotional service to the Supreme Personality of God, and thus become actually a great soul. So, Prabhupada, it's very easy. It's not at all difficult to perform these activities. He can, and anybody can perform in any ashram, any position, anywhere in the world, and then become a great soul, a Mahatma. Further, Krishna says, Jnana yagyen chapi anye yajanto mam upasate ekatvena prithaktvena bahuda vishvato mukham. Others who engage in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as a one without a second, as diverse in many and in the universal form. This verse is a summary of the previous verses. The Lord tells Arjuna that those who are purely in Krishna consciousness and who do not know anything other than Krishna are called Mahatma. Yet there are other persons who are not exactly in the position of Mahatma, but who worship Krishna also in different ways. Some of them have already been described as the distressed, financially destitute, the inquisitive, and those who are engaged in the cultivation of knowledge. Artho Jigyasur Arthati Jnana. But there are others who are still lower, and these are divided into 3. First, he who worships himself as one with the Supreme Lord. 2, he who concocts some form of the Supreme Lord and worships that. And 3, he who accepts the universal, the Vishwarupa of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and worships that. See again, there are different people, different levels of spirituality with different consciousness. Everybody is different. Everybody cannot be in the like one size fits all, that kind of philosophy. Cannot work. And Krishna himself does not force anybody that you have to do this. But Krishna is explaining, you do this, you will get this. You don't do this, you will get that. Simple as that. So there is no question of putting a sword on somebody's throat that you do this, you chant Hare Krishna and that's it, otherwise I'm going to kill you. No, that's not what Krishna wants. And then certainly that is not what he's expecting from his devotees either. And if we commit offense, if we commit sin, we have to take the reaction. There's no other way about it. So there are three people who are lower than Mahatmas or even lower than pious people, what Krishna explained. One who worships himself as one with the Supreme Lord means Mayavadi. He who concocts some form of the Supreme Lord and worships that. People, they have independence, they can think of anything what to do. And then thirdly, those who accept the universal form, the Vishwarup of the Supreme Personality of God, and worships that. So out of the above three, the lowest, those who worship themselves as the Supreme Lord, thinking themselves to be monists, are most predominant. Such people think themselves to be the Supreme Lord, and in this mentality, they worship themselves. This is also a type of God worship, for they can understand that they are not the material body, but actually spiritual soul. At least such a sense is prominent. Generally, the impersonalists worship the Supreme Lord in this way. The second class includes the worshippers of the demigods, those who by imagination consider any form to be the form of the Supreme Lord. Sabek, we're all one. We all go to the same destination, no matter what we do. It's a wrong philosophy, completely wrong philosophy. But there are these people, Ekatvena, Prithaktvena. And the third class includes those who cannot conceive of anything beyond the manifestation of the material universe. They consider the universe to be the supreme organism or entity and worship that. The universe is also a form of the Lord. So those who want to worship nature, then there's nothing. This nature, that is supreme. So further Krishna says, Aham kritur aham yagya swadham aham oshadham mantra aham evajyam aham agner aham. But it is I who am the ritual, the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the means I'm everything. Nothing is beyond me. This is for people who worship the universal. The Vedic sacrifice, known as Jyotishtoma, is also Krishna. He is also the Mahayagya mentioned in the Smriti. The oblations offered to the Pitriloka, or the sacrifice performed to please the Pitriloka, considered as a kind of drug, form of clarified butter, is also Krishna. The mantras chanted in this connection are also Krishna. And many of the commodities made with milk products for offering in the sacrifices are also Krishna. The fire is also Krishna, because fire is one of the 5 material elements and is therefore claimed as a separated energy of Krishna. In other words, the Vedic sacrifice recommended in the Karma Kanda division of the Vedas are in total also Krishna. Or in the other words, those who are engaged in rendering devotional service unto Krishna are to be understood to have performed all the sacrifices recommended in the Vedas. So everything is Krishna doesn't mean Krishna personally, that he has explained earlier. That Krishna is a Shyamsundar Krishna. But yes, everything is energy of Krishna. Everything comes from Krishna. So that way, yes, he is saying, whatever yajna you perform, it's me. I'm the ritual, I'm the sacrifice. But those who are performing yajna, they don't see it this way. So for them, nature is everything. Um, so they don't engage in direct devotional service of Krishna. They're going in a roundabout way. Pitamasya jagato mata dhata pitamaha vedyam pavitram omkara rikkasam yajurevacha. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the cerebral Om. I am also the Rig, Sam, and Yajur Vedas. So, you want to worship the Supreme Vishwarup or universal form? Krishna says, Pitamasya Jagato Mata Dhata Pitam. I am the father and I am the grandsire also. Pitama. Means there is nothing beyond me. I am the mother, I am the support. There is nothing beyond Krishna. Everything is in him. The entire cosmic manifestations, moving and non-moving, are manifested by different activities of Krishna's energy. In the material existence, we create different relationships with different living entities who are nothing but Krishna's marginal energy. Under the creation of Prakriti, some of them appear as our father, mother, grandfather, creator, etc. But actually, they're all parts and parcels of Krishna. As such, these living entities who appear to be our father, mother, etc., are nothing but Krishna. So when we say they're nothing but Krishna, doesn't mean they're Krishna themselves, but they're energies of Krishna. In this verse, the word dhata means creator. Not only are our father and mother parts and parcels of Krishna, but the creator, grandmother and grandfather, etc., are also Krishna. Actually, any living entity being part and parcel of Krishna is Krishna. All the Vedas therefore aim only towards Krishna. Whatever we want to know through the Vedas is but a progressive step towards understanding Krishna. So that's a progressive step. But then again, if we try to understand Krishna through the study of Vedas on our own, we can make mistakes. Or we certainly will make mistakes. We have to learn through a bona fide acharya. So that subject matter which helps us purify our constitutional position is especially Krishna. Similarly, the living entity who is inquisitive to understand all Vedic principles is also part and parcel of Krishna, and as such is also Krishna. In all the Vedic mantras, the word Om, called Pranav, is a transcendental sound vibration and is also Krishna. And because the Pranav or Omkar is very prominent in all the hymns of 4 Vedas, Sam, Yajur, Rig, and Atharva, they are also understood to be Krishna. So that way, yes, everything is Krishna, but everything is not exactly Krishna. They're all energies of Krishna. Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasa Sharanam Surat Prabhava Pralayasthanam Nidhanam Bijam Avyaya. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place and the eternal seat. Bijam Abhyaya. Gati means the destination where we want to go. But the ultimate goal is Krishna. Although people do not know it. One who does not know Krishna is misled, and his so-called progressive march is either partial or hallucinatory. So he's not making any progress if we don't know Krishna. So Gati, Gartir Bharta, Prabhu Sakshi. So Gati means I am Krishna, the destiny. That's also Krishna. There are many who make as their destination different demigods, and by rigid performance of the strict respective methods, they reach different planets known as Chandralok, Suryalok, Indralok, Mahalok, etc. But all such lokas or planets, being creations of Krishna, are simultaneously Krishna and not Krishna. Such planets, being manifestations of Krishna's energy, are also Krishna, but actually they serve only as a step forward for realization of Krishna. So they act only as a step forward. But if somebody goes to all these lokas, Chandralok, Suryalok, other planets, again, he cannot understand on his own. He needs the association of devotees or some advanced devotee to explain to him, this is not the destination. These are just intermediate stops. To approach the different energies of Krishna is to approach Krishna indirectly. One should directly approach Krishna, for that will save time and energy. For example, if there is a possibility of going to the top of a building by the help of an elevator, why should one go by the staircase step by step? So want to go to the top of a building, take the elevator and go up there. If we take this staircase, we might get tired, we might lose our focus, get distracted, we might want to just get into first floor, second floor, third floor, instead of going to the top and see what are on all these floors. That's why. Everything is resting on Krishna's energy. Therefore, without Krishna's shelter, nothing can exist. Krishna is a supreme ruler because everything belongs to him and everything exists on his energy. Krishna being situated in everyone's heart is a supreme witness. The residences, countries, the planets on which we live are also Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate goal of a shelter, and therefore one should take shelter of Krishna, either for protection or for annihilation of his distress. And whenever we have to take protection, we should know that our protection must be a living force. Krishna is the supreme living entity. So when we say I take protection of somebody, we can only do so with some living person, not a dead person. Krishna is the supreme living entity. And since Krishna is the source of our generation or the supreme father, no one can be a better friend than Krishna, nor can anyone be a better well-wisher. Krishna is the original source of creation and the ultimate rest after annihilation. Krishna is therefore the eternal cause of all causes. But the problem is people just don't know him. We think everything is working automatically. Nature is taking care of it. But nature is Krishna's energy. Nature on its own cannot do anything. Krishna's energy. And when Krishna says the earth should move or the wind should be there, that's what happens. Of course, he doesn't personally have to say that. But to come to that understanding, that's where the problem is. Very, very difficult. And one who comes to that point one who knows Krishna, then what he'll do is engage in his devotional service, nothing else he can do. Okay, I guess I will stop here to see anybody has any questions or comments.
No, Prabhu. Very nice class.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Getting into head is kind of a every time challenging, right?
That's what the challenge is.
Yeah. The Maya doesn't kind of keep towards that way. Maya
Yeah,
become heavier on
that's
our mind and intelligence, kind of.
Hmm. Chalo, we'll stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri.
Hare
Thank you, sir.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Jai Shri Prabhupada.